Lancaster County judge has ruled a teen accused of killing her sister will be staying in Lancaster County until her trial. 16-year-old Claire Miller will be tried as an adult. The judge determined Miller will stay in Lancaster County Youth Intervention Center until her trial scheduled for March.
What's going on, everybody? Quick announcement before we get started. I would just like to say, in an effort to catch back up to where we are on TikTok, we will be combining 2 episodes per video till we have done so. That being said, this installment contains episode 4 and 5. Now, while episode 4 may not seem as bad as some of the others, episode 5 is considered to be among some of the most disturbing stories out there. That being said, let's talk about TikTokers Who Did Terrible Things, episode 4. Bethany Martin, otherwise known as 23 Bethany 23. Creator class type, unknown. Specialty, being like totally stoked on life. Claim to fame, going viral for all the wrong reasons. So one thing I wanted to get out of the way before we move forward is what actually constitutes as a TikToker for this list. So let's go ahead and define that. If the individual in question has an account and has posted a video on TikTok, we are considering them a TikToker. Now, if that individual is more prominent on another form of social media, i.e. YouTubers or Twitch streamers, this disqualifies that person from making this list. In time, those creative outlets will be getting their own series on this channel. With that, let's begin. So by now, I'm sure a lot of you realize one of the biggest reasons people from all over the world flock to TikTok is because it is simply their best chance at going viral for doing absolutely nothing. I mean, what other platform can some random teenager just get up there, hit the whoa for like 3 seconds, and seemingly blow up on a cataclysmic scale overnight that you could not even begin to imagine? Chances are this probably isn't going to happen on YouTube or Facebook. That being said, I'm sure you also realize there are certain people in this world who will do absolutely anything to become internet famous. No matter what the agenda, no matter what kind of backlash they're going to receive, it's almost like they're not even thinking before they film that video in order to catch that sweet, sweet feeling from all the people who are like totally going to like that post. Well, this was very much the same mentality a couple of girls had back in July of 2021. A weekend comes along where Bethany, along with another girl who was a minor at the time and thus still has not been named, would post a grand total of 3 videos in an attempt to go viral. As a matter of fact, after the incident unfolded, she would state this is the only reason they had been posting these videos. And while the first 2 were innocent enough, as the first one just shows her dancing along with some random dude, and the second one, well, was this. However, the third would go absolutely viral on every single social platform, including eventually being covered by the mainstream media. And when you see it at first, you would think it's innocent enough. Although these 2 girls are making a bad joke, you might be thinking terrible is a bit of a stretch. Well, it wasn't the fact that they had actually came across a dead body earlier that day. It was what they had done to that body that would cause this to blow up the way that it did. Well, the 2 girls are walking home from a quick morning run to a gas station nearby at around 7:30 a.m. And at some point, they get to this really wide concrete drainage way. I mean, sometimes these things can be 50 to over 100 feet wide, and they sort of slope up on both ends. Well, as they're walking through this area, they look over at a concrete bridge-like structure and see a deceased Marcus Adams literally hanging in an apparent suicide. Now, rather than immediately calling 911, they would proceed to film Marcus from close up while Bethany stole the man's necklace. All the while, in this video, which by the way can still be found to this day on Reddit, her friend, that minor, can be heard laughing hysterically the entire time. They would then leave the area and call a friend. Now, luckily, this young man would do the right thing and immediately call the cops. However, he had no idea the girls had taken the necklace. Well, Bethany's friend would post that video on Snapchat prior to them calling the police. And within 2 days, both girls are being charged by Marcus's family with felony theft from a corpse. That video on Snapchat went so viral that literally the very next day it had circulated back around to Marcus's family, and every single one of them had seen it. And although the 2 girls would apologize and give the pendant that was on that necklace back to his family, sadly, they claim to have discarded the actual necklace that came along with it in a grassy area nearby, but it was never found. In addition to this, the family of Marcus Adams would state the actions taken by the 2 girls showed a clear lack of respect for not only their family, but the entire community. The damage caused by this was simply too much to forgive them at this time. And I don't really blame them. I mean, I don't know how I would personally react if I had just been scrolling through a feed one day and seen a deceased family member being stolen from, disrespected, more so a family member who I did not even know had passed away yet. And unfortunately, this was the reality for many of Marcus's friends and family members. Now with that, there's one final thing I kind of want to say about the whole situation. When asked by Marcus's family why they had taken the necklace, the younger of the two girls would say that it just simply matched her style. And it is said that in that final video posted explaining they had came across a dead body, that she is actually wearing the pendant taken from Marcus. And without further ado, we are going to go ahead and jump right into TikTokers Who Did Terrible Things, Episode 5. Claire Miller, otherwise known as Spirits and Consulting. Creator class type, peculiar. Specialty, all things anime. Claim to fame, downright disturbing in every way. So this one takes us to the township of Mannheim, Pennsylvania, back in February of 2021. See, Claire had been born into a somewhat privileged household, and by all accounts leading up to that point, she was considered to be an excellent student. As a matter of fact, that same year, she had been elected class president. More so, she had built up a following of around 15,000 on TikTok, and most of her content involved herself lip-syncing or dancing along to some of her favorite songs, with a few anime-related posts in between. Well, Claire had a sister by the name of Helen, and due to the fact she had cerebral palsy, Helen had been wheelchair-bound for quite some time. Well, Claire's parents would do absolutely everything they could to assist Helen with this condition, including spending thousands upon thousands of dollars modifying their home to accommodate her needs. In other words, they were truly doing everything you would imagine a set of loving parents would do if they had the money and the means to do so. Well, it was also due to Helen's condition. Claire would have to spend a lot of her own time tending to her sister's needs. And this, coupled with the fact Claire had always strived to be as perfect as she possibly could, allegedly would cause Claire to have a psychological break so violent and so disturbing, it would eventually go down as one of the darkest tales ever related to TikTok. Allegedly, here's what went down. At around 11 p.m., Claire is sitting at her computer when all of a sudden she begins to hear a series of demonic voices and began having these very vivid and disturbing hallucinations. She would go on to text a friend. Well, this friend would reply saying, "Look, just keep your eyes focused on your computer. Remember, if you can't see them, they don't exist." Little did that individual know, Claire was absolutely losing her mind. Just a short while later, she finds herself down in the kitchen, where she grabs a knife, wanders back up to her sister's bedroom, gets up on top of her, and begins stabbing her directly in the face. And as she's doing this, she begins moving these blows down to Helen's chest, repeatedly stabbing her a half a dozen times. After this, Claire grabs a pillow, places it over Helen's face, and presses down as hard as she can, until Helen is no longer moving. Claire then gets up, and over the course of the next 6 minutes, she texts all of her friends telling them what she had done. She would then call the police, wander outside, post her final TikTok, and wait on the police to arrive. Well, they would respond around 1 a.m., where unfortunately, it was simply too late to save Helen. She had died on scene. And to make matters worse, Claire's parents wouldn't learn of this until they were woken up to the sounds of EMS and law enforcement running through their home, scrambling to save their daughter's life. Claire was quickly arrested and brought in for questioning, where she told the story you just heard. And psychological analysis done by professionals corroborates this story, even going as far as to say the injuries inflicted upon her sister resembled that of somebody trying to get a manifested hallucination to disappear, and that the reason she kept on going was because that hallucination kept on reappearing. Now, what exactly was this hallucination? Allegedly, an evil version of herself. Claire is currently being held in a juvenile facility, and although she was 14 at the time, they have determined she will be charged as an adult. In addition to this, even though most agree this was not premeditated, she will most likely be held 100% accountable for her actions on that fateful night. Now, there's one final thing I want to say about this whole issue. Since Claire has been placed in this holding facility, she has been allegedly using this crime to gain attention in jail, almost as if she's bragging about killing her own sister. In essence, it was like all of a sudden she went from being this loving, caring daughter to having the complete opposite mindset. So that's it, y'all. That's gonna do it for Claire Miller and this episode of TikTokers Who Did Terrible Things. If you can think of anything I missed, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. That being said, I will see you on the next one. Peace out.